Hi, my name is Sean, and I'd like to take a little bit of time today to describe to you my concept for Cuvid. So, the way I look at it is that if there's one definite thing that we can all agree on in the world of dating is that there's no shortage of options. Um, Everyone has had experience at some point with social media, and a lot of people, the majority of people, at least in my age group, have had experience with some type of online dating, whether it's Tinder, Cupid, maybe it's Farmers Only, who knows? But we've all kind of been exposed to it in one way or another. So, in my exposure to it, what I quickly learned from friends, acquaintances, and a little bit of my own research was that online dating is really lagging behind the times and really not keeping up with some of the technology that's come into play over the last couple of years and not taking into account some very, I wouldn't say basic, but some understood principles in the field of communication and interpersonal communication and online communication. What I've found in speaking to people and through research is that people are ready for a new form of online dating or mobile dating that breaks away from the conventional three pictures and a quick paragraph about yourself. Um, the idea for Cuvid is that that approach is extremely limiting. So, what Cuvid really centers on is the user's creation of a 15-second video that acts as a profile. No written information outside of your name, your location, and your age, which is all optional to post. But that would be the only written information. So, in that 15 seconds, what I would hope the function of it and the purpose of it to really be is that is a 15-second video, I guess more literally a movie, we'll say, a 15-second mini movie about you. And you can do whatever you want with it. You can show interests, hobbies, a sense of humor. Um, just talk about yourself, what you want to do in the future, what you do now, where you work, where you go to school, what you like, what you don't like, favorites, things like that. Favorite music, whatever it is. Pictures can't really say that. And you can take all the time you want to describe in a paragraph about yourself, where you live, things like that. But that's limiting too, because whether you really know it or not, while you've been watching this video, you've been subconsciously or consciously drawing in information about me, about my mannerisms, my voice, my gestures, things like that. That's also something that I think is lacking in mobile dating currently. So I wanted Cuvid to really focus on personality and what's deeper than just a picture on Tinder or Facebook or whatever. So there was a lot of research for this, and the research really, I'd like to highlight three mainly, but the annotated bibliography assignment was great and giving me a lot of support. But there's a couple theories and a couple communication concepts that really shaped Cuvid, and a couple of studies that I found really interesting. One of the first ones is social exchange theory, and that was considered heavily when designing Cuvid. Social exchange theory, in its simplest form, is really just how we as communicators, when initiating conversation, whether online or face to face in person, how we weigh risk reward. What kind of information do I need to disclose about myself in order to get information back? Risk of rejection was another thing in one of the studies that I looked at. How do we weigh that? How do we approach that when there's a risk that we might not receive the feedback that we want? There was also research done on metaphors for the marketplace and dating. And though that might be kind of a rigid way to look at it on the surface, really at the end of the day, it is almost like an economic exchange when we're looking online for a prospective partner. That was also very interesting research that I found. I also found just a lot of different things like dispositional factors that one study focused on, and how those predict what someone's activity or behavior might be like online. Finding that rejection sensitivity and how that determined how much through interviews and things like that, how that determined how much someone might use online dating as opposed to face-to-face. So there was a lot of good research that I found that really back things up. But to wrap up here, let's just give you a basic idea of what Cuvid is. Cuvid is from step 1 to the end. The user creates a 15-second video. Once that video is created, it's posted to a virtual film reel, which is in the appendix section of my report. Users can scroll through that film reel, and in each frame of the reel is a different individual's video profile. It's 15 seconds, like I said. Click it, you view it. Based on that, you say, yes, I would like to connect with that person. That person is then sent a message saying that Sean would like to connect. And then it's up to the person who's being approached how to respond to that. They can say, yes, they want to connect, and we'll instantly start talking. They can say no, and the communication is done, and I can no longer view their video profile on my reel. It won't come up again when I go back to my reel the next time. Or they can also say maybe, which is a feature that I think really adds something to this. And the maybe function basically says to me, the person approaching the prospective connection, it says to me, I like what I see, but I'm not 100% sure. That gives peace of mind to the person who's being approached, that they don't have to make a decision right away. And it also lets me know then through a notification through the app that the individual has said maybe, but that they would like to see more. On the receiver end, who received my interest, my profile is then saved along with 4 other profiles, or however many profiles they want to keep in, let's call it a maybe folder or maybe library. And in there they have quick access to, if I change my video, maybe in the first one I'm hunting, and they say, you seem interesting, maybe, let's take it a little slower, then I receive the maybe notification, and I can change my video, which will then show up in their library, if you follow, that I changed it to maybe show myself playing basketball. I like playing basketball. So really the idea behind Cuvid is, let's get beyond just the single freeze frame moment of people's lives. Let's get beyond that and trying to have that determine what decisions we make going forward of whether or not we want to connect. One of the mission statements, I guess you could call it, or the themes of Cuvid is, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then a video has to be worth 1,000,000. Now, which one would you prefer? You'd go with the video in this high stakes of a communication setting. You want to know that if you're going to connect with someone, that you get all the information, as much information as possible beforehand. That's also another communication theory, uncertainty reduction, which is another big thing that the app is based around. Just reducing that uncertainty and giving as much information to the root of what attracts us to another individual. I hope all this makes sense. I hope that whatever I didn't describe here, I described in the paper, and whatever I didn't describe in the paper, that I described here. And I hope it's a concept that you like and something that you think you would or might have at one point used and downloaded. So thank you.